I am Rashawn McDonald, the host of Money Making Conversation Masterclass, where we encourage people to stop reading other people's success stories and start planning their own. Join us as we travel across the country, visiting small businesses and interviewing celebrities to see how they're running their companies and nonprofits who are making a difference in their local communities. Now sit back and watch as we unlock the secrets to their success. Hi, I'm Rashawn McDonald. I host a weekly Money Making Conversation Masterclass show. The interviews and information that this show provides are for everyone. It's time to stop reading other people's success stories and start living your own. My guest is the founder of the Universoul Circus, an African-American man who had a vision of creating a circus with a large percentage of people of color performing. It's based in Atlanta, Georgia. Please welcome to Money Making Conversation Masterclass, Mr. Cedric Walker. How you doing, Cedric?
Hey, Rashawn, how are you? And
First of
thank
all,
you a lot for this opportunity.
it's great, first of all, taking the time to come on my show. I know you're traveling around the world and around the country of the United States. What city are you in right now?
In New Orleans, Louisiana.
In 1994, you had an idea about a circus. How can that happen? Please help explain it to my audience, because it sounds incredible to me. A vision will come to you like that.
Yes, so we were doing gospel plays. We actually had a play. I was working on a play called Wicked Ways, and with Michael Matthews out of Detroit. And Wicked Ways was about a lot of the challenges that our community faces. It dealt with kids growing up in the inner city and getting into gangs. It dealt with fathers raising stepsons as teenagers. It dealt with professional wives and mechanic husbands. It just dealt with a lot of the challenges that our community faces. And I saw kids in the theater. I saw whole families, and it looked like I was in Pittsburgh at the Benham Theater, and it looked like I saw a father, mother, granddaughter, grandchild. And I asked the playwright, I said, man, this is a gospel play. I know it's clean. I asked Mike, and he said, it's because theater is the oldest form of entertainment. And went all the way back to Be or Not to Be. You could look on that stage on the Shakespearean plays and see yourself. And our community is getting a chance to look at itself through these plays. So that triggered the idea to create something that, because we were very our entertainment was it was comedy, it was R&B, it was jazz, it was hip hop, it was dance, it was kind of a mixed bag of everything. And I said, I got with my team and I said, how do we create something that touches everybody? So I went to the library and every day, 8 hours, I worked, I worked, made part of my job reading about Black entertainment from the turn of the century. And what I found was we trained animals in the vaudevillian days. Black people trained horses and dogs, and so I shared that with my team, and the idea was from that the circus germinated. But it was all about having something for every generation of our family, something where father, mother, daughter, granddaughter, and grandson could all sit on the same bench and enjoy each other enjoying the show. So that's what started.
And so when I talk about the circus, you did all this research, but it was some naysayers out there, right, Cedric?
Ooh. Oh man, my investors all ran prominent, but both black and white. I had partners and money guys, and they all just said, "Man, you are crazy. Black people will not go to a circus." And that was it. It just nobody believed it. So I did. I felt it. I don't know where and what, but I stayed the course. but it was challenging.
Because we get stereotyped. We get stereotype on technology. We get stereotype on the type of entertainment or movies that we want to see, and also that means the world can stereotype us. So I commend you in pushing back and say, look, I feel that within my gut and my research, this can work. And then 30 years later, because you're celebrating your 30th year of Universal Circus, I don't know if I'm gonna do Don Cornelius
Universe.
version. I'm going to Rashawn version, but either way, it got a lot of soul in it, brother. And so the name, I'm sure you have research when you did name as well, correct? Universal.
Yeah, yeah. The original name was Universal. I was back and forth with my team on Universal. I wanted Universal from the beginning. So when we got to LA, Universal Studios sent us a cease and desist on Universal Big Top Circus. So we asked them back. Well, we want to use Universal, which was my original idea to use,
Uh-huh.
and they said, "Oh, absolutely." So here we are.
And so then you look around at your staff going, told you. Told you. See, now you got me out here looking bad because you didn't follow my original idea. We wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Now, this is the good part of it, because we jumped a little bit. We had the idea, we got the name, but you were traveling. How did you had the naysayers about the whole concept, Cedric. And how did you get the acts originally? How did you start putting the circus together?
When I wanted to do circus, and part of my research was that circus entrepreneurs traveled the world, and I couldn't wait to travel the world. I thought it was going to be a great experience, but that's what it took to do circus. But I do want to say that we started in 1994 in Atlanta. And initially, it was an effort the initial concept and vision for it was to uplift and celebrate the positive achievements and cultural contributions of African Americans through a family attraction. And so that was the impetus for what people are seeing, and that still remains in the show. What you saw, it's that feeling that they get once they come under that big time. It's that soul that we put in it that differentiates us. But yeah, I went around the world, and it was challenging to look for talent, but I thought, now, I said, our audience, we can't just give them bland food. Now we got to have that spice, that salt and pepper. I got to bring it real.
Right. Black
I
people.
can't have
Black people.
I can't have a clothesline for a high wire
Right.
or a
Right.
mattress for that. So no, I went around the world and just looked, and it was amazing how many black circus performers were doing phenomenal things that were out there. A lot of them in Europe, and right here in America, the King Charles Troupe playing basketball on unicycles, just stuff that came out of the hood, came out and basketball on unicycles was the only thing. We were the only ones that did that. So you had so many original. There was a girl named uh, Pamela Hernandez, and Pamela was an African American from LA, but she was one of the most respected airlifts. She was on Ringling Brothers, but she'd be in those arenas like 30, 40 feet in the air doing tricks, no net under her and her partner. And when when I started listing the acts that I wanted to bring, and they were black, and the rest of the industry, the whites, the Europeans, anybody in the industry knew and respected these black artists to the highest.
Right.
And Pamela's going to be there. I'm going to be there. King Charles is going to be there. I'm going to be there. So, so it's amazing the quality of black entertainment even back then in circus arts.
We know it's really important as we tell this story, and thank you for allowing me to ask these questions because I think the origin story of Universal is important as what's happening now. Because in my life, I first was introduced to your circus in 2005. I was managing Steve Harvey, and we was on WBLS in New York City. And that circus, when I went into the first time, I didn't know, I didn't know what to think. You know, I went in there with curiosity, but I walked away inspired because it was a circus by us for us. That was the first thing that really pushed me to positivity. And so I'm sure over the years there have been different versions of the circus as you go. Because the circus I saw in 2005 had an elephant. And the
Yeah.
circus I saw this past weekend recently didn't have an elephant or any animals at the time. I think it was a lion too that I saw at the time too. So talk about the transition and the vision of the circus over the years.
So, just like Michael Jordan said, you have to keep your eye on where the ball is going, not where the ball is. And we try to, and entertainment is an art form that moves society forward. So we try to inspire that new direction and wherever it takes us. And it's kind of organic. It's a platform for young people to express new ideas through their artistry. So I mean, we've kind of it was challenging to even think about or dare to venture into the show without the animals, but we realized how the laws were changing. The people were changing, and we no longer could carry the animals from state to state. Some states could, some states wouldn't. But but what we found out is that our cultural artistry, our who we are, and how much fun we can have, and that the family unit where we're all grandmother, father, daughter, and son, are all enjoying each other, enjoying the show. We laid into that. How do we be authentically us in a performance that is for everybody at the same time and shares our culture? So a lot of the Afro beats music, a lot of the music you heard in the show is kind of new trending music, a lot of new dance styles that American hip hop has inspired around the world, whether they inspired it in China or Africa. It came from our streets. It came from America, and it inspired the world. And so we've incorporated a lot of that inspiration, but just that nonstop energy that is germane to our culture and our celebration. It's sort of like a family reunion under the big top. So we just leaned into our story, and we continue to do that as it evolves.
Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Money Making Conversations Masterclass. Welcome back to the Money Making Conversations Masterclass hosted by Rushion McDonald.
I'm speaking with Cedric Walker, the founder of Universoul Circus, an inspirational voice in our community because he had a vision he wouldn't allow other people to deny. He did his research. He walked past a naysayer, and 30 years later, he's celebrating a vision that we all can be entertained by because the audience I saw was very diverse. And not by accident, because I saw it in the area of Atlanta, Georgia, which is the Atlantic Station, which is a mixed race, very upwardly mobile area of Atlanta, Georgia. And the audience, not only that, I knew it was mixed race because the friends of mine, they went to the show before me and went, wow, I didn't expect it to be that diverse. Is that the goal now, or it just happens?
Our goal is to stay authentically Black, period. And how do we do that? That is what transcends culture globally, being authentically who you are. So, we don't have a direction, again, except for the origin of our show to uplift and celebrate the positive achievements and cultural contributions of African Americans through family entertainment. So, we're not going after any specific audience, we're going after the world.
Awesome. And Thank you for saying that. Now let's talk about these acts. The bottom line is the acts. Now, this Chinese trapeze act that you got that dazzled my daughter. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, she's one of those people who came in there with doubts, Cedric, because she's a Circus Soleil. You know, she big Circus Soleil. She said, Dad, are you sure? I said, hey, these are my people now. My boy Cedric, they gonna take care of us. When she left, my brother, she is a 100% Universoul fan. Okay, so know that. But that trapeze act, that put her on edge. She said that's better than anything she's ever saw anywhere, and she's seen about 15 of those shows. So talk about
Yeah.
that Chinese trapeze act.
So, right. So we have the I guess the grace and blessings of having scouts around the world, young scouts that are always looking for what's new in different countries. And our scout found this troop in their school performing, and hadn't been out of the country yet, but had won gold in every competition in China. And there's no 15, 16 people flying through the air and no trapeze act in the world. So I said, I have to have that act. And so when the price tag, when the price tag hit, uh, the guy said if he buys it, he's crazy, and we bought it because we wanted to. Because that's what circus is all about. It's just bringing unbelievable stuff to the audience.
Well, you know, the difference that really amazed me was the distance between them swinging. I was stunned by that distance. I was like, wow, I've never seen this athleticism, aerial athleticism like this. So again, this is one thing. Another thing that dazzled me, and a lot of things dazzled me, by the way, Cedric. The was the I think the couple that was on the roller skates.
Oh yeah, from Cuba. That's our Cabana Nights roller skating thing.
Cedric, that right there, the G force of them spinning, I was taken aback. I was taken aback.
Yeah.
What is the training like when you get a couple like that? Because it's danger involved.
So, right. So everything you see under the big top, we curated. It's been 4 or 5 years before it even hits our stage, and it could have been in school, in their schools. We work with schools all over the world. We work with schools in Ethiopia and Cuba and South America. Work with schools in China. And we identify what we want, and depends on what level of training they have achieved, and what countries they come from. We send trainers to Ethiopia. We send trainers to West Africa. We send trainers to South America, or we bring the performers here, send them to training centers here. It's sort of they get out of what you would consider maybe high school or entry college level, and then we take them to that doctorate level in terms of really putting the icing on the cake in terms of performance. So that skating act came from two schools. It was a dance school in Cuba where I saw the young lady, and acrobatic school, and they were combined. And they spent a few years training in Cuba. Then we brought them here and sent them to Las Vegas to elevate their training. Then we got them under the big top and created a theme, the whole Cuban theme around them. So whatever you see, I mean, we spend a good 5 years of investment at about um, 40 to 50 grand a year just training these acts that you see. Our idea for our artists, and some of them we don't have to train, like the Caribbean. Their whole culture is, all about. To me, that's one of the greatest acts on our show. Their culture is designed to. Uh, you look at their faces and they're smiling and they're happy as they perform, and they're going under fire 4 or 5 rows, and I mean, the culture in terms of the costuming, the characters, the still, well, everything means something. Nothing is by chance. Nothing is just for flamboyancy or your eyes. It all traces back to their culture in some meaningful way. So everything is deep rooted that you saw.
Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Money Making Conversations Masterclass. Welcome back to the Money Making Conversations Masterclass hosted by Rushion McDonald.
Like I said, I just want to share everybody my thoughts, my adventure. Go there and see it. The show is over 2 hours long. This is not a 30-minute show, an hour show, hour. It starts on time. Let me tell y'all this. Universoul Circus starts on time, okay? Because of the fact that a lot of people don't believe that because they come in late, okay? This circus is professionally run. Not saying it wasn't, but people need to understand you can miss out on some great entertainment if you don't arrive on time because Universoul Circus starts on time. Now, let's talk about the acts from Ethiopia because I noticed, I'm looking at, I'm I'm a little producer too, Cedric, and I noticed a lot of acts from Ethiopia. Tell us about that.
So Ethiopia is the leading world. They're leading the world in producing and providing Black circus performers all over Europe, all over. We're very proud that we got into Ethiopia in the maybe 90s, 96, 97, 98, and started working with those circus schools. And we were the first to bring an Ethiopian act out of Ethiopia to a circus touring in America. They had, I think, they had schools that were set up in Ethiopia mainly to train kids. It was a program that was developed by some European entrepreneurs, and the idea was to help the government keep the kids off the street. So they were training them circus arts, and it was cool. It was a good idea, but the performers showed such great enthusiasm and capacity until when I went there, I was totally blown away at the quality of some. And the shows were all about messages, and they had full circus shows that were, teaching kids about AIDS or teaching kids about, working. They had a lot of good messages. But we were one of the first, and we've since invested a lot of money in training in Ethiopia because the kids show so much promise. So we're very proud of the work that they've done. We sponsor a big festival there, or one of the sponsors of a big festival they have. But there's some great. We have a duo aerial act that I've never seen. And in 30 years, I've seen just about everything. But that duo, those two girls up in the air, you saw them. They move at a speed that no other duo aerial act will move at. I think even dare to move that fast, changing all those positions 30 feet off the ground with no
No
net
net.
under that.
No net.
It's incredible.
And I won't describe in detail, but please go. What he's saying is underselling the significance of what they're doing because it's impressive. And they were doing some things. I would tell you, Cedric, I was going, is she about to do that? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are they sisters or were they twins?
No, they work together. They come out of the school. We have in the performers, we have the hoop diving act, we have the girls in aerial act, and we have the three acts, the teeter board, and those are the three best, strongest schools in Ethiopia. We have their top acts, so those are the three of the top acts from the strongest trainers and producers in Ethiopia, and we were graced with that and blessed because we were one of the early pioneers in helping them with training and programming.
As we go, like I said, it's 1994, you had the vision. We're sitting here now, 30 years later. What's on the horizon?
I mean, our culture is so rich, and it deserves so much, and we've got to. There's a lot we have to do. I think family, and just in the family attraction industry, ice shows that we have yet to challenge. I mean, there's a Bourbon Street. Why don't we have a street? I mean, there's just so much but it has to be authentic, and it has to be created authentically. um, but I have a lot of ideas. I have ideas that should live way past me, and I have a lot of challenges. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Well, my friend, the fact you allowed me to take time in your busy schedule, because you run a circus, okay? I'm just running a little small business with animals and trapeze act and all kind of human beings running around here trying to understand what life is. You're in the entertaining business. That's where you started. You had the whole run of animals, the whole big top theme. You did the gospel plays, which I'm very familiar with. But the bottom line, Cedric, you just wanted to do family entertainment, correct?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a need for it. And I saw it, and we needed this. We need something that uplifts our families and joins us together. It joins the generations. It ties the young. When a 4-year old is watching their parent sing soul karaoke to Al Green, and the grandparents are watching kids and doing the latest dance with the Fresh the Clowns in the ring. It just ties generations together.
It really did, because it was some little girl. There was a song that those rappers, they started playing. It was like 30 little girls, probably about in the fifth grade, was singing. I went, I don't know what they're doing, but boy, it is really enjoyable to watch the connection, because they just took off and did the little dance and hit every word, and it was just fantastic. But thank you for inviting me down there to see history, my brother, because you're making history, man. It was diversity, the safety, the professionalism, walking in that door, man. It was just a clean environment, safe environment. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Universoul Circus starts on time. Remember that. Don't let nobody push no stereotype. I'm not saying it's out there, but people generally think that when you do black things, CP time, it's going to start when it's going to start. Not their circus. My brother, thank you for the time.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Peace.